it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, March 7th. Okay, so we have the moon in Aquarius energy all day, which is going to help us out a bit because, of course, we're emotionally detached under this influence so that we can act as the observer. We can gain a bigger, broader perspective of some of the issues, some of the problems, some of the obstacles that we are currently facing, and of course, gain a little bit of clarity by thinking outside of the box on how to kind of heal, repair, and resolve some of these issues, especially by aligning with a new vision, a new goal, a new dream. What I mean by that is that many of us are not happy in this present moment with our present and current circumstances. So what we need to be doing, especially being in Pisces season, is kind of moving into La La Land and conjuring up a different vision of our realities in which we would prefer to be living so that we can gain that bigger, broader picture, that bigger, broader perspective, and then break it down into smaller pieces to see how far we're actually away from being able to manifest a reality that not only looks good, but feels a lot better than the current reality that we're working with. When we have that vision, that goal, that dream, we are essentially able to dissect it and come up with a path, a plan, on strategy on how we can take power and control in our present moment to adjust, to maneuver, to rearrange, to restructure our physical realms to be more in alignment with the goal, the vision, the dream that we now want to manifest. So the moon in Aquarius provides us with this higher form of intelligence. We're kind of gaining perspective, we're gaining epiphanies and aha moments on where it is that we would like to go from here. So this is going to bode very well for us. We are wanting a little bit more freedom in our lives, a little bit more space and distance and independence, especially in some relationship dynamics. This Aquarius energy, of course, just has all of the inner workings of our brain, the highest form of our intellect, just pushing the boundaries of what it is that we have been comfortable in to see where it is, again, that we can step outside of the box and really see new opportunities, new options now be offered to us. This is a great time to kind of understand where it is that we are needing to adopt new methods, new ways of doing things, new ways of kind of looking at our lives in order for us to kind of create a vibration and frequency of change. And so there are going to be some interactions here today that are going to really amplify the issue, the problem, in order for us to solve it, to resolve it, to actually move on from it. So with that being said, there are 8 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Aquarius energy going to make a positive interaction first with the North Node in Aries energy, followed up very shortly thereafter with Chiron, the wounded healer, in that Aries energy as well. So because these are both positive interactions, we are starting to formulate a path, a plan, a strategy on how it is that we're going to gain a little bit more momentum, more kind of distance, let's say, between the things that aren't working and gain closer proximity to the things that we want to actually see work. So again, very much kind of taking that greater, grander vision, that goal, that dream, breaking it down into smaller pieces, seeing what we have access to, what we have power and control over in this present moment, and start kind of readjusting, fine-tuning the ability for us to see where options and opportunities are now presenting themselves because we've identified the problem. We know we don't want to continue to stay in this stagnant energy or this current circumstance. And now, again, intellectually speaking, we're pushing the boundaries of our comfort zones on what it is that we would prefer to be living instead. Now, the interaction with Chiron shortly thereafter is boosting our self-esteem, boosting our confidence, especially in the way that we see ourselves capable of achieving great things as long as we continue to kind of build upon the momentum, the inspiration, the motivation in our inner realm. That's Mars's job. We will kind of watch that fire, that spark, that flame really reach a peak precipice, and then it kind of dulls out a little bit. The whole point here is that we have to be building on excitement, on inspiration. Sometimes frustration and anger will be the fuel to our fire to get us out of this present moment and into something different. But overall, we're thinking futuristically. We are seeing ourselves in a different light. We are feeling more capable of making the changes that are needed than we have in the previous weeks. We're still just trying to build towards this launching point. The sun in Pisces energy is then going to make a positive interaction with Chiron. So this is kind of shining a bright light on where it is that we are making some major changes in our inner realm. We are kind of gaining new knowledge, new perspectives, new information, if you will, that's going to help us, heal in this present moment with a lot of the pain, the trauma, the struggles that we're currently definitely sorting through here in Pisces season. We are cleansing our soul and our spirit from those particular weights, again, all in efforts to lighten the load before we jump into a new astrological calendar. And realistically, the sun in this Pisces energy is shining a bright light on where it is now that we are closing the door on particular tough love life lessons and karmic chapters, and where we, again, anchored in this new version of self back in January, where we're starting to understand the change, the transformation that our ego self, that our spiritual selves are going through at this particular point in time, to get to a point where we are going to feel strong, capable, and stable enough to launch ourselves in a new direction. So there is a whole kind of rebranding, this image change that we've been going through. We are still building in that, but we are gaining more and more confidence each and every single day as we kind of unpack the weight of the past and, again, clear the space, clean the slate for us to be building towards something new into the future. The moon in Aquarius then going to semi-square Mercury. So Mercury, the ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in this Piscean energy, which again, blending our intuition with our intellect to kind of gain different perspectives, different information, different knowledge from the world around us. This is highly suggestive that right now, our heart and our head are not on the same page. The heart space is represented by the moon, and of course we're emotionally detached in this Aquarius energy so that we're not so caught up with the feels. Instead, we are able to kind of use our intellect, gain a bigger, broader perspective of some of the issues that we're currently sitting in, but not be so emotionally attached to them that we're getting blinded by our feelings. Instead, we're really pushing the boundaries of our thoughts, of problem solving, if you will. While Mercury over here is kind of all caught up in the feels. That's what that Piscean energy is all about. We have to really kind of allow the feelings to crash upon us, and then we tap into our intellect, that mercurial energy, to dissect where these feelings are coming from, what we can do with them, how we can improve upon them, how we can gain more power and control over them. So, of course, Mercury, who's kind of overwhelmed with feelings, and the moon, who is totally detached from feeling at all at this point, we're not on the same page. We're having totally different conversations within ourselves. Our heart space is telling us one thing, our head space is telling us another. The moon is going to interact with Saturn shortly thereafter. Saturn, of course, the lord of karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations. In this Piscean energy, really challenging our old belief system, challenging where it is that we need to create better boundaries in our lives, where we need to kind of keep one foot rooted here in the physical realm, in reality, so to speak, while we allow the other foot to kind of explore in imaginary realm and fantasy realm in order to conjure up a new vision, new goal, new dream. Now, this particular interaction, although it is a positive one, does kind of usher in a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of somberness that just comes with Mr. Saturn. He likes to kind of give us reality checks from time to time and really kind of slow the pace down so that we are able to kind of see where it is that we have to go very low and slow if we want to build the right kind of system, structure, foundation that is going to last a lifetime, so to speak. And because we are in the midst of deconstructing and eliminating things out of our lives, we need to build something better in the place of the things that we're removing. And so, again, the moon in this Aquarius energy being emotionally detached so that we can see the greater, grander picture, we understand now what it is that we have to close the door on, what we have to purge, what we have to release out of our, let's call it, heart space, head space, our physical bodies, our energetic bodies, our belief system, in order for us to build something new. And this is all about improvement and betterment of our physical realms, our physical lives, because that Aquarius energy just wants to improve upon the things that we could do better upon, the things that are working, the things that are strong enough to kind of stand the test of times, that are going to be with us in this next karmic chapter, while we're removing and defragging some of the not so nice elements, not so nice topics and themes, not so nice energies that, again, we do not want to take with us in this new karmic chapter. So this is kind of a realization on where it is that we're on the cusp between things ending and things beginning. The moon is then going to semi-square Neptune, who of course is in his place of power in this Piscean energy. Semi-square doesn't really feel that great. It's not as intense as a square would be. It's only half of the intensity of a square. But this is definitely going to put us in a situation where we're having a hard time gaining clarity. We're kind of caught up in confusion. A lot of that is because Neptune and Pisces energy, picking up on all kinds of different energies from the subtle world around us, really overwhelmed with our emotions. We have a lot of questions. We have not as many answers to those questions as we would prefer. And so there is an overwhelming state that we find ourselves in where we just don't want to think anymore. We don't want to problem solve anymore. We just want to curl up in a ball, kind of wait it out, if you will. And we just want to avoid reality at this point in time. So the friction here is that we're not in alignment with our intuition or with our higher selves. We're very stuck in the intellectual processing of our brains. And of course, it would be very nice if we could kind of blend those two parts of self together, because that's when we are most in our power. But at this particular point in time, there is an overstimulated part of us with all the questions, with needing to find the answers, with sitting in the confusion, with wanting clarity, that just makes us want to check out altogether. So emotionally speaking, we can get overwhelmed. We can feel a little bit wanting to remove ourselves from the physical realm, from a lot of the thought processes that we have been in. We're in a state of paralysis at this particular point because we're not supposed to be using our brains. We're supposed to kind of be using our energetic bodies to navigate some of the thoughts and the feelings that are coming over us at this time. But again, we're stuck in analysis paralysis, which of course can lead to some clarity, but at this particular point in time, it's just creating more confusion and a little bit of anxiety because of it. We have the moon getting into the boxing ring, fighting it out, squaring off with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's in this Taurus energy, and you best believe that this is going to be a tension-filled energy. Why? Well, we're not feeling optimistic. We're not feeling confident like Jupiter usually makes us. Instead, we are kind of sitting in this restlessness, this anxiousness. We are understanding where it is that one part of us really wants to kind of shift out of this present moment, wants to gain momentum, wants to make changes, wants to take action, wants to create new opportunities for us to kind of grow and expand in our lives. But again, the moon in Aquarius, we don't have a plan together. We don't have a strategy together. So one part of us is, wanting to kind of jump into things, but we can't jump into things without an appropriate plan put into place. And so the conflict here is that we're bored. We want to do something new, but we don't know what to do new. We don't know what we could change. We don't know what we have power and control over. We don't even know the direction that we're going in. So this particular energy is going to create a lot of anxiousness, a lot of frazzle dazzle in our central nervous system, because one part of us wants to get going and the other part of us is pumping the brakes until we get more information, more details, more clarity, more of a perspective on what the path, the plan, the strategy should actually be. So we're going to sit in that funk for about 5 hours-ish. And then the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Aquarius sextiling, beautiful interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. So we start the day off with an interaction with the North Node. We end the day off with an interaction with the North Node. Both are positive, which means that the confusion that we find ourselves in, the overwhelming state of emotion that we find ourselves in, and thought process, I guess, midday is going to be semi-resolved by the time we kind of shut the day down. And what I mean by that is that the tension, the conflict, the back and forth, the push and pull, we are going to kind of have a different perspective emerge from that, a different idea emerge from that. And the moon sextiling with that north node suggests that we are making a little bit of progress on what the forward movement, what that path forward actually could look like. And again, we're kind of sitting in this exploratory phase of trying to think of the situation, the circumstance that we would rather be living other than this current adjustment period that has us kind of all up in our headspace, all up in our feels. So we are making progress, although it may not look like that out in our physical realm. Emotionally and mentally, we are kind of connecting the dots. We are gaining perspective and clarity. And as far as where it is that we would like to go from here goes, we're starting to put some puzzle pieces together on what the first steps of kind of jumping in this path may actually look like.